Welcome back to Haddonfield and Beyond, your one-stop shop for all things Halloween, Haddonfield, The Shape, Loomis, and who knows what. Joining us again is Braden Timmons, the man behind The Last Nightmare Part 1. Thanks for taking some time out of your day to not only talk about The Last Nightmare, but a lot of Halloween TV series rumors out there. We've run a couple. 3C Films picked up some stuff. Cinestel picked up some stuff. And it seems like there's a common trend between them that we'll dive into here in a few minutes. But how goes post production, man? We did one video with you, but how is just the day to day of that going as this thing wraps up?
It's going, man. Got still looking forward to getting that one scene done, and then we are going to be golden as we kind of bring this thing home. It's currently out there getting worked on by our Foley artist, our composer, all that kind of good stuff. So music is underway. Got a really, really great score that you guys can look forward to. And I do believe that Mike Shabani, our music composer, does plan on putting that on Spotify later on this year once it is out. So I think it's going to be a day after drop. So after the movie comes out, the next day you should be able to jump on Spotify and listen to some of those good old tracks that you end up really liking. At least that's what I think. That could be something that he may need to work out the details on. But as far as I'm concerned, I think that's what he is trying to aim for. But yeah, lots to look forward to in terms of the score being on Spotify and a lot more good marketing stuff coming up.
So if you didn't catch it, we have a much longer 20 plus interview with Braden available on the channel. Check that out for more in-depth questions on The Last Nightmare Part 1. Dean, I'll go to you first. Do you have anything to ask Braden that we didn't get a chance to cover in that first one?
Yeah. Anything interesting happened behind the scenes? Maybe difficulties or just maybe some fun moments? Just anything behind the scenes.
Man, it's always a fun moment with the crew that we have out there, the casting crew out there working, just busting their ass to make this thing come to life. No, not a whole lot of difficulties. Everything this time around went very smooth in terms of locations, the people that we had. I mean, we shot in houses of one of our producers' family members. I mean, they were kind enough to lend us some of their houses to use. And I mean, my only thing that I tell our team is, and I shouldn't have to tell our team, they're all adults, they're all well capable of knowing how to handle property, is that we make sure that we respect and pick up everything as we're leaving the property and all that stuff. So, you know, we're very thankful for all of the locations that that allowed us to shoot at their property and everything. So not a whole lot of difficulties at all. Good. If anything, it was just some difficult moments trying to find out how we want to kind of change some dialogue to make it flow a little bit more. That could take a little bit of time on set, but I mean, you know, other than that, just really, really good stuff across the board.
Nice.
So now I have two questions because Dean brought one up. Will the physical media releases include any extras, like scenes that didn't make it, interviews? Have you approached the production like that to have extras planned?
Yeah, so I think we're gonna have some behind the scenes. We will have some bloopers, and we will do I think an interview I'm gonna do just with our overall post-production team, talking about their process. I want to really get Shabani on, particularly how he approached the score, because I know you guys do love the score. So definitely want to talk to him about where his idea kind of came from, you know, just changing up the note. That was a really quick process, actually. It was as all that fan film drama started happening, as Trancas started kind of taking down numerous fan films that were heavily using copyrighted or close to copyrighted music. Like if they got a whiff of that main cue happening, it was like, nope, you can't do that, and we're going to go ahead and take it down. I do also think that had to do with the overall length of it too. But yeah, I think that we're gonna have some good stuff. I do think that is only going to be for the Black Edition Blu-rays, though, so
Ooh.
it's not going to be the main one. I think the main one is probably just going to have the movie on it, like the Haddonfield Nightmare did, and that's also because of just how much that costs to
Yeah,
to get
for
done.
sure.
So yeah, and if you guys have seen our budget, we don't have the budget like Never Hike does, or Dylan's a
Mm.
Nightmare, or It's Me, Billy. And I wish we did, but we don't. So unfortunately, we have to restrict ourselves in some capacity.
Hopefully on part two. Hopefully you guys can push that budget up a little bit and get more of what you need for part two.
Hopefully, I'm really
Yeah.
hoping that people enjoy this one enough to be like, okay, they've got it, they have it down. Let's go ahead and fully support them on part two.
That'd be fantastic. I mean, it definitely deserves it from what I've seen. So,
Yeah.
last question here on The Last Nightmare, but not part one, part two. You kind of sort of hinted at the end of the last video we did when the next campaign might, or the first campaign might begin for that. What are you looking at right now, timeline wise, of when you're hoping to film that in? And release date wise, I imagine we're a decent bit off from a release date. So, where can people maybe set their early expectations?
Honestly, you could probably, because we're probably going to wrap up this campaign. I'm going to probably have, because we're in demand right now. I plan on keeping this one open. We do still have a good amount of perks, and we're going to be adding some perks here in the near future. Hoping to have this campaign closed probably by end of October, and then we're really aiming early next year. And I will tell you guys now that I've really thought about this, because this one comes out this October. All I have to say is next October, Halloween falls on a Friday, and we love Friday releases. So you can probably think about just that. Keep that in mind with when we want to try and probably shoot for next year for part two. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to confirm anything, but just keep in mind Halloween is on a Friday next year. So
we're hopeful for next Halloween. Fingers crossed.
It could be a big Halloween release area. I mean, I know Cinestealth had it listed as a potential 2025 release for the TV series. Everything that we've heard, though, seems to point more towards 2026 than 2025, given where they are in the process. But James Grimm's Halloween Aftermath, and he did the Mask for Your Guys movie, is slated to come out in, I believe, October of next year. So that would be
Theirs is October 17th next year. Yeah, they already have a release date, so you could expect theirs next October. Definitely curious to see how they're gonna kind of bridge that gap between Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. So but it looks like they've got a lot of good victims to play around with in that one, from what I've seen at least. So
yeah, they've been very kind with letting us get a look at what they're doing, and it looks fantastic. I think between what they're doing, what you guys are doing, Halloween's alive and well, and definitely will help bridge the gap to any official TV series and follow up movie whenever it comes. And speaking of which, I want to take a few minutes now just to discuss the Halloween TV series rumors that were out there. We had been reporting for a couple of months now that we had heard that we're leaning heavily towards a Halloween Returns esque type TV series. Now, that doesn't mean they're taking the Halloween Returns script that's out there and repurposing it into a TV series, but rather just taking certain elements of that and using that towards a TV series, which I think fits. And I think would be interesting because I think a lot of that hasn't necessarily been done before. And then more recently, Cinestealth followed that up, and they cover a lot of scoops and leaks. And despite not having a big following, they've been pretty accurate in the past. And they definitely compared it to Halloween Returns. But I'd also, to give them some credit, I don't know if you've read Halloween Asylum. There's two different versions of it. But I would say theirs also fits in with Asylum and the maximum security prison and everything they reported on, and the no Lori, but Loomis possibly being involved. Then Chris from 3C Films, a much bigger channel, followed it up. What are your thoughts on the Halloween rumors right now and the idea of a Halloween Returns esque or Halloween Asylum esque type TV series that seems like it would be a period piece everybody seems to be leaning into?
I did very much enjoy the Halloween Return script. I truly do think that movie would have been epic. It would have been a great, how do I want to say? It would have been a great modern day adaptation of Halloween and bringing on a brand new. I feel like that would have been the movie to, bring a brand new audience into the franchise. I do think Halloween 2018 did a very good job at honoring the initial movie, but it was a sequel, so you have to have had seen Halloween 1978 in order for you to understand. Really, I mean, you could watch it and be like, okay, this woman went through a lot, yada yada yada, but in order to truly understand and catch on all the nods, if you want to catch all the nods, you better be a fan of the entire franchise. That's all I gotta say. But with Halloween Returns, I really did like that script, and I was like, dude, like the scene at Smith's Grove of the execution of Michael Myers is fucking terrifying. Like reading that, I had goosebumps all over my arms. I was like, dude, this is insane. And just the way that he was killing those doctors, like literally in front of all those people, is just nuts. So I did very much enjoy that script. I thought the finale, it got a little too action packed for me at the end in terms of like, what Michael was doing, how he was moving, or how he was written to move. I don't know if they would have gotten to set and been like, let's slow him down a little bit, but I did very much like that house party scene at the end and the cornfield scene and all that shit. I thought that was all very well done. I have not read Halloween Asylum, but if it's going to be a period piece, I'll be curious to see how they end up tackling it. At this point, I just want to know what it is that they're doing, and as long as they're not doing anything with H2O, I think that I'll be okay.
You're safe. I
think you're good. I think you're good in regards to that. Dean, any thoughts on just again the Returns style, and even Braden, if you want to follow him up, do you think Halloween Returns works as a TV series stretched, even if it's just one season stretched into 8 or 10 episodes?
Yeah, I think much like Braden said, that's something that I really feel like we should have seen. I'm a fan of 2018, but Returns, like he said, he was reading that script. I'm reading that script and I'm picturing it as if I'm watching it. So like you can really put together from script to screen, how things were playing out and unfolding. Damn good script, damn good story. Execution, as I always stress, I would have liked to see how that played out. But I think Returns is a story, even if they just kind of pick parts from it and include it throughout the series in some fashion. I think it's something that we need to see as fans. I think it has a big appeal. The ending of Returns a little bit controversial, but also if you were to actually, now that I think about it, if you take the ending of Returns, pluck it and put it into the series, that opens the door for a season 2 or follow-up movie, whichever way they approach it. But it's somewhat not quite a cliffhanger, but it kind of leaves a little bit to be desired, and I think it would leave people curious to where's this going to go. So I'm a big fan of Returns. Would love to see it kind of brought into the series and where it could go from there.
One of the debates seems to be Loomis's involvement in this. They seem to hint at we would be returning to some older Halloween characters we haven't spent much time with, and that's straight from Trankis's mouth and Miramax. And then both Cinestealth and 3C Films followed up with they thought Loomis would be in it. The question is, how much can you have Loomis be just, someone who gets the story on its way after the events of 1978, and then you transition to new characters? Or are they confident enough to try recasting Loomis again and having him be sort of the star of this thing? Braden, not only what do you want in terms of those two options, but what do you think they'll do?
Yeah, so I don't know, the way I want to answer this is I don't know if you guys have seen Breaking Bad or not, or if you guys are fans of Breaking Bad, but there's a character in that named Saul Goodman. He's the lawyer to the show. He's kind of like a side character. He does have his own show called Better Call Saul. It's 6 seasons, and he's one of those characters where you think he might not be able to really anchor the show by himself. He does have a really good supporting cast, but he is really good in that show. So that kind of like shocked everybody with how good that show ended up being. I think that if the scripts are written superbly, I do think that we can get a very good, strong Dr. Loomis lead on the series. And I if he's not as senile as he is in like Halloween 5 or Halloween 6, and like I don't want to follow that kind of character in like a Halloween series. Like I feel like that if they're able to compose themselves and like hold themselves together for at least a little while, I do think that we can really maybe follow his drive into that senile old man that we end up seeing. But yeah, that's basically my thought on that. I do think I would actually like to spend a lot of time with Dr. Loomis and get to know him a bit more while we get to know him some in, Halloween and Halloween 2, and even Halloween 4 and 5. I would really like to spend a good portion of time with him and kind of see his process of everything. Because a lot of the times, by the time we see him, he's already batshit crazy and he's just screaming at people and all that stuff. So, I'd really like to see a more composed, thought about version of Dr. Loomis, because I do think that if he actually stops and thinks, he could provide some really good insight towards the situation and our antagonist, really.
I'd say that's pretty bang on. Definitely something I'd be open to seeing. And then I'm going to pluck a couple of different elements from a few different spots here. I'm open to kind of continuing from the Loomis that we see in Halloween 2, because he's kind of more alert. They're on Michael's trail, following up.
Mm-hmm.
It's picks up, same night, so they're still on Michael's tail, and they're kind of realizing the seriousness of what's going on. Also, Halloween 4, we really see like him on high alert. So let's pull. It's not quite crazy yet. We get that in 5 and 6. 6 maybe a little reserved because he's retired, he's older. But then I want to pull from the reboot trilogy here, which is something me and Sean have talked about a lot. We really get to the idea, at least, that everything that's happened is really taking toll on Loomis. And it's kind of what they mention is like a breaking of his psyche. So Michael's tormenting him to the point to where like he's almost going crazy, but he's hitting like really close to home. He's killing family members that are close to him. And at one point, Michael's at the foot of his bed in the hospital and drops a decapitated head at his feet. So, you can only imagine what that does to someone who's already been through so much, and then they see that. So I'm on board with spending a lot more time with Loomis, but I would love to see some story beats like that kind of intertwined here and give us something where it's on a more serious level. Let's lean off the batshit crazy. He's just running around because, Michael's on the loose. Let's dig into his mind a little bit and let's kind of see some development.
Well, we'll have to wait and see what comes of the Halloween TV series. Bunch of rumors out there. It's definitely starting to heat up. Wouldn't be surprised if towards the end of summer, early fall, we start to get official word on what's going on and showrunner and stuff like that. So stay up to date on the channel. Like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications to all so you can keep up with all the content. Braden, where can everybody find you at to support you and what you got going on?
Yeah, you guys can find me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. You just search Braden Timmons, should pop right up.
Awesome. Good stuff. For Dean and Braden, I'm Sean, and we'll see you next time in Haddonfield and beyond.